The year is 1482. In the heart of Renaissance Italy, in the city of Milan, a man sits alone in a dimly lit room. The faint glow of candlelight flickers across scattered papers. Sketches, notes, strange diagrams that seem almost impossible. Outside, the city sleeps. But inside this room, something extraordinary is unfolding. His name is Leonardo da Vinci. To most people around him, he is a painter, a man of art, a creator of beauty. But what they don't see is what fills these pages. Machines, not simple tools, but visions of a world that does not yet exist. Flying machines, armored vehicles, mechanical systems that seem to defy the limits of his time. Leonardo wasn't just observing the world, he was imagining what it could become. And that is where our story begins. He was born in 1452 in a quiet town called Vinci, an illegitimate child, no noble lineage, no formal university education, no clear path to greatness. And yet, something about him was different. From a young age, Leonardo showed an unusual way of seeing the world. While others looked, he studied. While others accepted, he questioned. Why does water flow the way it does? Why do shadows move? Why do birds stay in the sky while humans remain bound to the earth? These questions did not leave him. They followed him, day after day, night after night. Leonardo believed something radical, that nature was not random, that everything, from the movement of wings to the structure of the human body, followed hidden rules. And if those rules could be understood, they could be recreated. He would walk for hours observing birds, not as a dreamer, but as a scientist. He watched how they tilted their wings, how they caught the wind, how they glided without effort. Then he returned to his workshop and tried to translate life into mechanism, wood, rope, cloth, simple materials. But in his mind, they were enough to unlock the sky. On paper, he began sketching something extraordinary. Large wing-like structures, a human at the center, a machine designed not just to imitate birds, but to become one. Each line was careful, each measurement intentional. This was not imagination. This was engineering. But the world around him could not understand it. Because in the 15th century, flight was not a problem to be solved. It was a dream, and dreams were not meant to be built. Yet Leonardo kept going. Because for him, impossible was just a word used by those who had not tried hard enough. His notebooks began to fill, page after page, not just with drawings, but with thoughts, observations, questions, theories, written in mirror script, backwards, as if his ideas were secrets, or perhaps messages meant for the future. And the more he wrote, the clearer it became. Leonardo was not just thinking about flight. He was thinking about everything. War. He imagined machines that could move across the battlefield while protecting the people inside. A circular, armored structure, reinforced, mobile, weapons positioned around it. A machine designed not just to fight, but to dominate. Centuries later, the world would recognize it as something familiar. A tank. But Leonardo had already seen it. The sea. He imagined men walking beneath the surface of the water, breathing, moving, unseen. He designed early concepts of diving equipment, masks, breathing tubes, ideas that would not become reality for hundreds of years. Movement. He studied gears, rotations, energy transfer. He imagined systems that could automate motion long before the Industrial Revolution. And through all of this, was a strange contradiction. Leonardo could see the future with incredible clarity, but he lived in a world that could not follow him there. The materials were too weak, the tools too primitive, the knowledge incomplete. His ideas existed, but the world lacked the power to bring them to life. And maybe that's why he never rushed, never forced his inventions into reality. Because somewhere, deep down, Leonardo may have understood something most people never do. That timing matters. That some ideas are born too early. So instead, he documented everything. Carefully, relentlessly, thousands of pages, as if he was leaving behind a map. Not for himself, but for those who would come after him. Because Leonardo wasn't building machines for his time. He was planting seeds. Seeds that would wait in silence, hidden in notebooks, ignored, forgotten, until the world was finally ready. And when that time came, people would look back at his work and ask a simple, unsettling question. How did a man living 500 years ago see all of this? Into the flying machines that challenged gravity, the war machines that predicted modern combat, and the designs that would make one thing clear. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just ahead of his time. He was operating on a completely different timeline. The pages turn, softly, slowly, as if time itself is being peeled back, layer by layer. Ink lines stretch across the paper, precise, deliberate, alive with intention. These are not sketches. They are blueprints of a future that has not yet happened. A new page. At first glance, it looks like a bird. Wide wings, elegant structure, a body designed for the sky. But then you notice something unsettling. At the center, there is a man. This is Leonardo's flying machine. Not a fantasy, not a myth, a design. A human-powered device built to mimic the mechanics of flight. Wooden frames extend outward like bones. Fabric stretched tight, forming wings. A system of pulleys and levers connected to the pilot's arms and legs. Every movement calculated, every motion intentional. Imagine it. A man climbing to a high point, a hill, a tower, maybe the edge of a cliff. The wind pushing against the structure, the wings trembling. Below him, nothing but air. He steps forward. For a moment, silence, then motion, wings beating against the sky. Desperate, powerful, a battle between gravity and human will. Leonardo believed it was possible. But here's the truth. The human body is not strong enough to fly this way. The muscles cannot generate the power required. The design? Brilliant. The execution? Impossible. And yet, he was closer than anyone had ever been. Because for the first time in history, flight was not magic. It was mechanics. Another page turns. The tone shifts. The sky disappears. Now we are on the ground. A massive circular structure dominates the page. Low, heavy, reinforced. Layers of angled armor surround it. Small openings line the sides, and inside them, weapons. This is Leonardo's armored vehicle, a machine designed for war. Picture it moving across a battlefield. Slow, unstoppable. Men inside, hidden behind thick protective walls. Outside, chaos, arrows, smoke, fear. But the machine keeps moving. It is designed to intimidate, to control, to survive. Centuries later, machines like this would redefine warfare. But Leonardo saw it long before ironclads and engines. And yet, even here, there is a flaw, a strange, almost deliberate mistake in the gear system. If built exactly as drawn, the machine would not move. Some historians believe it was intentional, a way to prevent misuse, a safeguard. Because Leonardo was not just an inventor, he was a thinker, and he understood something dangerous. That invention is power. Another page. This time, darker, more confined, the surface of the water. Silent, still. But beneath it, something moves. A figure. Submerged, breathing. Leonardo designed an early form of diving equipment. A leather suit, a mask, breathing tubes connected to the surface. A way for a human to exist where they were never meant to be. Imagine the fear. The weight of the water pressing in from all sides. The limited air. The silence. And yet, the possibility. To move unseen, to explore the unknown, to enter a world that had always been out of reach. Again, centuries ahead. Page after page, the pattern becomes undeniable. Flight, war, exploration, mechanics. Leonardo wasn't focused on one field. He was trying to understand everything. And that is what makes his work so unsettling. Because these ideas should not exist in this time. They don't belong here. It feels as if they were taken from the future and placed into the past. But here's the deeper truth. Leonardo wasn't predicting the future. He was observing the present more deeply than anyone else. He studied nature with an intensity that bordered on obsession. Water currents, muscle movement, airflow. He broke the world down into systems, patterns, rules. And once you understand the rules, you can change the outcome. That is what Leonardo discovered. But there was a cost. He worked alone, often misunderstood. His ideas too complex, too strange, too far ahead. He started projects he never finished, jumped between disciplines, painted masterpieces, then abandoned them. Because his mind refused to stay still. It was always searching, always asking, what's next? And that question would echo through everything he created. Because Leonardo was not satisfied with the world as it was. He was chasing the world as it could be. And in doing so, he left behind something extraordinary. Not machines, not inventions, but possibilities. If Leonardo da Vinci saw the future so clearly, why didn't he change it? The pages stop, not because the ideas end, but because the man behind them does. The room is quiet. Dust settles over ink that has long since dried. The sketches remain exactly as they were left. Unfinished, unexplained, untouched. Leonardo da Vinci is gone. No grand unveiling of his machines. No moment where the world gathers to witness his inventions come to life. No flight, no armored machines rolling across battlefields. No men walking beneath the sea. Only paper and silence. For years, nothing happens. His notebooks are scattered, some lost, some hidden, some ignored completely. The world moves on, unaware of what it has been given. Kings rise and fall. Wars are fought. Empires expand and collapse. And somewhere, buried beneath time, his ideas wait. Not dead, just sleeping. Because the truth is simple and difficult to accept. Leonardo was too early. The world he lived in could not support his mind. Not because he was wrong, but because he was alone. There were no engineers who could build what he imagined. No material strong enough, no science advanced enough to understand his calculations. He saw the destination, but the path did not exist yet. And so, his visions remained trapped between thought and reality. But time has a way of catching up. Centuries later, the pages are found again, carefully opened, studied, re-examined, and suddenly, they don't look impossible anymore. The flying machines. Now they resemble early aircraft concepts. Gliders, wing structures, aerodynamic thinking. The armored vehicle, recognizable, Functional, familiar, the diving equipment, primitive, but undeniably real. One by one, the world begins to understand what it is looking at. Not imagination, not coincidence, understanding. Leonardo did not guess the future. He built it in his mind, long before anyone else could see it. And that is when the question begins to take shape. What if he had been born later? What if he had access to steel instead of wood, engines instead of muscle, modern mathematics, modern physics? What would he have built? The thought is unsettling, because if this is what he could do with so little, what would he have done with everything? But maybe that's the wrong question, because Leonardo was never meant to finish these machines. He was meant to start something, to prove that the limits people believed in were not real. That flight was not impossible, just unsolved. That the human body was not a mystery, just unexplored. That the future was not something that arrives on its own, but something that must first be imagined. And that is his true invention. Not the machines, not the designs, the mindset, the refusal to accept the world as complete. Leonardo da Vinci did not build the future. He gave it permission to exist, and long after his hands were gone, long after the ink had faded, the world finally followed where his mind had already been. Some men live in their time. Some men change their time, and a rare few leave it behind completely.